Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the ways of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law do we meditate day and night. For we shall be like trees planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth our fruit in our season. Our leaves shall not wither, and whatsoever we do shall prosper. I will talk to you maybe tomorrow morning about the ungodly who are not sown like a chaff, which the wind drive it away. Because tomorrow morning I want to talk a little bit about Boston Beach. Because some people have problem. Yeah, man. Some people have problem. Bad mind a kill them. And Bob Marley, this brother, Robert Nesta Marley. Some will hate you, pretend they love you, while behind your back they try to eliminate you. But who God bless? No man curse. Thank God we are past the worst. Hypocrites and parasites, yeah, man, will come out to take your life. But if the night would turn to day, a lot of people would run away. So if you're hearing this morning, you know the cap fit, you wear it. Wear it. We have a tight show this morning, very tight schedule. We have to finish on time, 1. And 2, we have the lady, attorney at law Mela, who came on and spoke to Jamaica about the $100,000. And whole heap of people are run out and I try conflate the issue. The lady at no point never say you can't bring in more than $100,000 to Jamaica. But Auntie Lane, good morning. Morning, Portland Spice ambassadors, Kevin. Morning, Minty Rule, Erica, Sandra. Morning, Herbert. Morning, everybody. Curly. Morning. Share up the live. Share up the live, like it up, because we're going to bring on that lawyer in about 7 minutes. She's coming on early. Because then we have Chris Brown, then we have Ralston. So it's a tight morning. Tight ship this morning we're running. The lady had never said that you can't bring in more than 100,000. What she's saying, the law gives the authority. Anything 100,000 and up, they can take it from you. And I have a clip with Favor Williams. Jesus Christ. God, where do them people here? What are you going to do with these people? I don't know. I don't know. To be God, your work must be hard. Must be hard being God. Because these people are dangerous. How many of you watch the Standing Finance Committee? So many things happening, So many things happening. I don't even sure where I want to start this morning. I hear the Prime Minister admitting to the 7.1 decline in the last quarter and stayed far from the first quarter. Hallelujah. Over 11 Jamaicans killed by state apparatus in less than 24 hours. And it no concern some of these people. Wayne Henry is now touting work from home. Why is that if the economy is so good? That's rubbish. The economy is good. Diesel go up by $10.50 and $12.50. Nobody no cry. No wallet. Because when we called on the population to raise their voice in concert that the cap of $4.50 should not be moved, they never talk. Nobody no come out. The government just brace for a while. Hey, it's one thing you have to give this government, you know. Them study the Jamaican people and have no luck. Have no luck. Andrew Holness and his administration, they have studied the Jamaican people and have them locked up, keyed. I tell you, the Jamaican people, the government know right way on there and how to deal with it. Lorraine Taylor, good morning. Paulette Phillips, morning. Marcia Coleman. Florence, morning. I'm going to share up the live. Share it up. Share it up for me now. I think I'm going to start with Wayne Henry, but then I have to go play it back when Ralston come back. I'm going to share up the live, everybody. And, all right, you know what? Let's go to Governor Biles. Let's go to Governor Biles.
Real GDP declined by 7.1% for the December 2025 quarter, compared with growth of 5.1% for the preceding September 2025 quarter. The contraction was broad-based, with the largest declines recorded in mining and quarrying, accommodation and food service activities, electricity, water supply and waste management, agriculture, forestry and fishing, and manufacturing. For the March 2026 quarter, the bank estimated that the economy declined in a range of 4 to 6%, a slower pace of contraction compared with the previous quarter. The improvement primarily reflected a slower pace of contraction in the category agriculture, forestry, and fishing due to improvements in production. The electricity, water supply, and waste management industry is also estimated to have contracted at a slower pace, reflecting post-hurricane electricity restoration. On the international scene, developments in commodity markets were mixed amid continued geopolitical tensions and global demand uncertainties. For the period, the 1st of October 2025 to the 27th of February this year, which is right before the start of the Middle East conflict, average crude prices declined by 15.6% relative to the previous 12 months, reflecting higher global supply conditions and weaker demand. Since then, over the period of 1st of March to the 20th of May 2026, which is a period of the conflict, average crude prices increased by 59.4% compared with the average prices immediately before the start of the conflict. Similarly, average grains prices increased by 8.3% during the period of the conflict to April 2026. Although U.S. LNG prices are lower than a year ago, there has been an increase of 8.7% since May of 2026. Despite concerns surrounding changes in U.S. trade and immigration policies, the impact of Hurricane Melissa, as well as heightened tensions in the Middle East, Jamaica's foreign exchange market remained relatively stable during this review period. At the 26th of May 2026, the exchange rate had appreciated, say that again, had appreciated 5% on a year-over-year basis to the level of $157.9 to $1 US. This compares to a depreciation of 2.3% over the previous 12 months. The foreign exchange market has been supported by the bank's strategic use of its foreign reserves to augment US dollar supply to the market, which helped reduce volatility. Jamaica's external position remains strong, with gross international reserves amounting to approximately $6.5 billion US dollars on the 26th of May 2026, representing 138.5% of the level assessed to be adequate. The negative impact of the global political and economic climate on the country's external accounts is projected to be significant, with the current account balance expected to deteriorate over the near term. This deterioration will largely result from higher imported fuel prices and increased importation to facilitate the economy's post-hurricane infrastructure rebuild. The deterioration also reflects the adverse impact of Hurricane Melissa on the tourism industry. In this context, the bank anticipates that the current account balance will fall within a range of a deficit of 0.5% of GDP to a surplus of 0.5% for the financial year 2025-26, compared with a surplus of 3.0% recorded for the financial year previously. Given the high level of uncertainty surrounding the duration of the conflict in the Middle East and the extent of damage to critical oil and gas infrastructure in several Middle Eastern countries, recovery is anticipated to take several months or maybe even years. Against this background, over the June and September 2026 quarters, domestic inflation is forecast to trend upward from 4.3% at April 2026 and is projected to breach the upper limit of the bank's target range of 4 to 6%. This will be mainly driven by supply and cost pressures, including increased energy and transport-related inflation resulting from rising crude prices, and secondly, the second round or latter impact of higher energy-related inflation on the prices of other goods and services, coupled with higher spending related to the necessary post-hurricane reconstruction. The extent of the inflation range breach will be determined by the severity and duration of the conflict, which remains highly uncertain. As geopolitical tensions ease and global oil supplies return to normal levels, headline inflation in Jamaica is forecast to gradually moderate and return to the bank's target range. The risk to inflation forecasts are skewed towards inflation being higher than projected. The main upside risk is a more extended conflict in the Middle East, resulting in continued international commodity prices being high and their subsequent impact on domestic prices. In addition, adverse weather conditions, including the El Nino effect, could place upward pressure on agricultural prices. Higher than projected inflation expectations could also contribute to higher inflation. Further, high inflation may arise from a stronger than anticipated impact of more domestic spending amid the post-hurricane recovery activities. On the downside, the impact of these factors on prices could be tempered by reduced demand because of energy costs taking up a larger share of consumers' disposable income. Finally, looking at developments in the real economy, with the expected gradual recovery of the economy for financial year 26-27 and further on 27-28, real GDP growth is forecast within a range of 1 to 3%. This follows an estimated contraction in the range of 1% to 2% for the financial year 25-26. Ladies and gentlemen, the recent geopolitical tensions have introduced significant uncertainty and challenges to the economic outlook. However, Bank of Jamaica remains committed to its primary mandate of maintaining price stability. Madam Chair, this concludes my final formal report. However, as this
Yes. So you hear Governor Biles, and some questions was asked of him in the Standing Finance Committee. And Peter Bunting asks a question of Governor Biles. For all the people, I was still waiting to be joined by the attorney at law. All the people who are saying that Jamaica is not in a recession. I love the way how Peter Bunting framed the question, and the governor never responded to this part. Listen to this question here from Peter Bunting. Listen this.
Coming from fiscal or expectations. So in that context, and given that we're in a recession,
You hear that?
given that we're struggling to recover from Melissa,
I will see.
why
We
should
guess
Jamaicans bear
all right,
the
so
burden
I'm going
of higher domestic?
stop Peter Bunting, and we're going to come back to Peter Bunting because I don't want to keep our guests waiting. And as I said, we have a tight schedule this morning. Morning, Council.
Hold on. Good morning. How are you?
I am
Wait.
fine, thank you.
Let
I
me
was-
do something for you here.
I was hoping that we'll be seeing your beautiful face on the
You can. Here I am.
Let's see.
Are you seeing me now?
Not yet. Not yet. Let's see if it's coming. All right, there you go. There you go. Good morning and welcome.
Thank
So
you. Thank you.
You created quite welcome to Portland Spice TV. Let me officially welcome you to this platform. And of course, Denise Mailer. That's the name, right?
No, Dion. Sorry.
Mailer.
Yes.
Yes. Mrs. Dion Mailer, attorney
No,
at law.
no, miss. Just miss.
Oh, me had a black traffic.
No, you're putting me with my father there.
All right. So you created quite a firestorm when you came out and said that if you come into the country with a, call it 600 US,
645, yeah.
it can be confiscated.
No. If you come with 645, it cannot be confiscated. Anything over that
Yes.
can. All right.
Did you say that you can't come with over that? Because some people
No.
twisting the thing make it sound like you didn't say that.
I did not say that. I
All
did
right.
not say that. What the law really says, is that 100,000 Jamaican dollars, which is equivalent to 645 US right now, okay? If you
Yes.
use a rate at 155, the customs officer cannot seize that amount.
Right.
But that is the only amount that cannot be seized.
Anything less than that.
Anything over that can be. Anything less than that cannot be. Understand?
So legally,
Yes.
and I read something about that poker law. It said the police can seize it too.
Yes, and the police do it on our streets all the time. If they find a young man who they think is suspicious and he has 120, 30, $40,000, they can seize his money.
What?
Yes.
You see, some people are mixing up this whole thing, and
Mhm.
don't realize that it is on the discretion of a policeman that him don't seize it if him not seize it.
That's
or
right.
a custom officer.
There you go. Because all they need to have is reasonable suspicion. And what is that? That's up to them.
You're a lawyer. Explain that reasonable suspicion for us.
Well, reasonable suspicion is subjective. That means it's going to be a matter of how they think, what they see, the signs that they see. So sometimes they say they see somebody sweating, they see somebody shuffling around in the car, or they see somebody shifting things on their pocket, and they call that reasonable suspicion. So it is subjective.
So you don't need no evidence.
No, man, you don't need no evidence. Suspicion is exactly what it is. Suspicion.
I want you to listen to the Minister of Finance. I'm going to play a clip from the Minister of Finance. I want you to listen to it, and then you can respond.
All right.
First has to do with what has been circulating in social media about $100,000 Jamaican, whether or not you can bring that into Jamaica. And I'm here to say that that information on social media from someone who purports to be a lawyer is incorrect. Persons traveling to Jamaica can bring cash in excess of 100,000 Jamaican dollars. You have to declare if you are bringing in US 10,000 or the equivalent. You have to declare it on your Enter Jamaica electronic form when you fill that out. So then, if we're saying to you, coming into Jamaica, you can declare if you have US 10,000 or higher or equivalent. Then we're also saying to you, you could bring in less than US $10,000 without declaring it. So how did this Jamaican 100,000 come into being, into the conversation? It does exist in law, but it is a security threshold.
You shall book and shuffle now?
Or security, including customs, can, if they suspect someone to be coming into Jamaica and they believe them to be carrying whatever, they can question that person. They can, investigate. And the 100,000 comes about because the law says, that's the threshold. So if somebody's coming in with less than 100,000 in their pockets, you wouldn't necessarily go after them, right, Assistant Commissioner? So that's where the 100,000 comes in. It's just for law enforcement, and it's a threshold so that they're not wasting their time pursuing somebody who's coming in with less than $100,000. So I hope that's clear.
I have a lot of problem with the statement, but go ahead and respond.
I see the problems with this statement because at first she's saying that I am incorrect. And then she goes on to say that I am correct, if you listen to her carefully. And she's also trying to mix up the people of Jamaica by telling them about the $10,000 first, as if that is an issue. The 10,000 US that you declare on the customs form is not an issue. There is no problem there. That $10,000, the form says, it says, I am taking in 10,000 US dollars or its equivalent, and you are to tick yes or no. That is not a problem. You are declaring that. You would notice that the form does not say, I am carrying in between 1,000 and 10,000 United States dollars. It doesn't ask you what you're carrying. It only asks you about the $10,000, correct?
So anything over $10,000 you should declare.
Anything $10,000
and up. Yes.
You should declare. Anything under 10, they pretend as if you are free to come in with anything under 10. That's what it is suggesting, don't it?
Yes.
Right. But that is not
but
true.
But further down in our statement.
Yes. Further down in our statement, she acknowledges that the law actually says that there is she calls it a threshold. The words the law uses, minimum amount. The law says that the minimum amount that may not be seized by the authorized officer, which is the customs officer or a policeman, is $100,000. You understand? So if you come in now and they do the math at the airport, when they ask you how much money you have and you tell them $2,000, they work out the math right away. Either they use the calculator or their head. They convert it and they say, okay, you are above the minimum amount. I can seize your money if I believe that you are suspicious You see
But-
what I'm saying?
But you
Yeah.
realize in the minister's statement, she not tell the people them say the policeman can seize your money and hold on pan it, you know.
She don't say
Legally,
it
you know.
clearly. No, she
No,
don't
she don't
say
tell
it
you that.
clearly. Right. She don't say it clearly. She just say, well, we don't take it. But she didn't say we can't take it. You understand? She said, well, if you're coming with 1,000, we don't take it. It's not that they don't. It's not that they can't. They can take it. The law allows them to take it. And that is the point I am making. So if you are coming here with anything under $10,000, let us be clear. As long as it is not within the minimum amount. So anything between 645 up to $9,999, which is exactly below 10,000, the customs officer can seize your money.
So, counsel,
Yes.
what they are mixing up, and
Yeah.
I see a lot of other people on social media, because I never see anywhere in your statement that you say you can't bring in more than that.
That's
But
right.
what you are alerting Jamaicans to is
Yes.
that once you have over 100,000 Jamaican or its equivalent,
That's
it
right.
can be seized.
Amen. And that is the law. Be
And
clear.
when it
I
is
didn't make it
seized,
up.
When it
Yes.
is, all right, hold on. Let's pause. Can you read from the section of the law where that come from?
Yes. Pass the law there, so for me.
Because
All right.
people need to understand, that you are at the discretion of a custom officer or
Yes.
a constable
Yes.
once you have more than $100,000 in your possession.
That is it. All right. So, what is the law? Is the Proceeds of Crime Act, and
Yes.
it was passed in May 2007. All right. And for those who want to go and look it up, you can just put that in your search bar, or you can go on the Ministry of Justice website, Laws of Jamaica, type it in, and it will come up. All right. Proceeds of Crime Act. Now, Section 55 of the Proceeds of Crime Act is the interpretation section. So that is the section that tells you how you are to interpret all the things within the act. All right. And the first thing that one of the first things it defines is an authorized officer. And the law says authorized officer means a constable, a customs officer, or any other person designated as such by the minister by order for the purposes of this act. So right now, the minister hasn't designated anyone else. So right now, the only two authorized officers under this law would be a constable and a customs.
Custom officer.
There you go. The act goes on to define cash, and it says cash means the following items found at any place. So it means airport. Any place, it means the road. Any place, it means your house. Cash means cash. Yes, cash means the following items found at any place in Jamaica. And it says notes and coins in any currency. Any currency, US pound, francs, whatever, any currency. It includes postal orders, checks of any kind, including travelers' checks.
Hold on, checks as well?
Checks as well, sir.
Oh,
Checks
tell
fall
her, tell her,
under
tell her, tell her.
cash. The law defines cash as checks of any kind, including travelers' checks. So some people think they can come with travelers' checks and they are good. That is also included under the definition of this act for cash. Remember what I told you I'm defining? The act says cash means the following items found at any place in Jamaica, right? So you hear notes and coins in any currency, postal orders, checks of any kind, including travelers' checks, bankers' drafts, bearer bonds and bearer shares, monetary instruments of any kind designated by the minister by order as falling within this paragraph. So there you hear what cash is. Then the act says minimum amount. minimum amount means $100,000 or such other amount as may be specified by the minister by order published in the Gazette for the purposes of this part. So it says minimum amount means $100,000. This is a Jamaican act. It means 100,000
Jamaican dollars.
There you go.
Mhm.
Understood? The minister has not changed it. So it is still 100,000. All right, sir? We're clear on that so far.
Clear.
Okay. Clear. Then now, the act you go now to read, section 75. And section 75, now this is the seizing section. Section 75 says, an authorized officer. Remember who I said an authorized officer is defined as?
Police or a custom officer.
There you go.
Go ahead,
An
teacher.
authorized officer may seize any cash. Remember what we say cash is, right?
Yes.
If the officer has reasonable grounds, that is the suspicion, reasonable grounds for suspecting that the cash is recoverable property or intended by any person for use in unlawful conduct. You hear the reasons?
Mhm.
And you hear what they must have. Reason for suspecting. And that is what we call reasonable suspicion. Here you
Not
go.
reasonable evidence. Suspicion.
No. Suspicion. Right? And the act says no. This part I have not highlighted, but I need to tell the people that the officer, once an authorized officer, this is 75 1A. An authorized officer has reasonable grounds for suspecting that a part of cash is recoverable property or intended by any person for use in unlawful conduct, and it is not reasonably practicable to seize only that part. The whole of the cash may be seized by the officer. What does that mean?
Yeah.
That means that even though you come in with say you come in with 1,000 US, right?
Mhm.
And the minimum amount, well, let me read this part first. This section does not authorize the seizure of an amount of cash if that cash, or as the case may be, the part to which the suspicion relates, is less than the minimum amount. Remember what the minimum amount is?
100,000.
Right.
Hold on, Counselor. My next guest is in the waiting room. Chris Brown, I see you. I'm coming to you shortly. Go ahead, Counselor.
All right, there you go. So the point I wanted to make here is that even if you bring in a 1,000 US, the only part of the 1,000 US that the authorized officer, the customs officer, ought not to touch would be what? $645, right?
Less than, yeah.
Yeah, because that is in keeping with the minimum amount. No, the law is allowing the customs officer not to just take the 300 and odd difference.
Over.
They can take the entire $1,000. They can take everything because they can say it is not reasonably practicable to seize only that part. The whole of the cash may be seized. So don't think they're going to leave you with some and take all. They're going to take
all of it. When was this law enacted?
From 2007.
2007.
Yeah.
And it has been on the books since that time.
That is so. That is so.
And based on what you're saying, Counsel, the police needs no reason to seize that money from you. Once them think you have it, them not like you. You mess with him, woman. You're rude to him.
Lord, I am not going there with you. The police ought to have reasonable suspicion.
Yes, but remember earlier we talked about that reasonable suspicion, you know. As I said, the policeman said the man a sweat, he must shuffling in his car. Then
remember now, I am still an officer of the court. And as an officer of the court, I'm still a minister of justice. And so I'm not going to come out here and say what they will do and won't do and what is unlawful. My job is to fight them in court. I don't fight them in the media. Right?
All right. So finally,
Yes.
Finally,
Yes.
when they seize that money, what
Yes.
is the process to get it back? Because you did that process recently.
That's right. I did that process recently. Now, the process is that you have to. My client was a Bahamian national. He was a tourist, coming to enjoy his birthday, and they seized his money, right? And I had to get information from the Bahamas for him. So he had to get his bank statements. He had to get his registration of his business. He had to get affidavits in proof of his money. All we had to do, and this man was a company owner. He owned a haulage company, big trucks that move things all across the Bahamas, and he had done so for years. So after we established the legitimacy of his money, then his money was returned.
How
With
much did it
interest.
cost? How much did it cost him to get back that money?
You couldn't ask me that.
But
when
it cost him.
It was free. Yeah, man, it cost him.
And the interest you're talking about is what, $1 or $100?
No, it was $100 something on his money he
And
got.
it cost him thousands to get it back. Is there any recourse? Can he sue the government?
Well, he's not interested in doing that. He
But
could
is
bring a
that
constitutional move. He could bring a motion that the law is unconstitutional, but he's not interested because he says that all he wished he did was that he wished he knew that this was the law. Because if he knew it, then he would have operated differently, right? He would not have come with cash. He would have just used his credit cards, which is eventually what he had to do for his holiday. He didn't really have a good holiday because his money was taken and he had to load up his credit card. But he said all he wished he did was that he knew, because if he knew, he would have operated differently. And that's the message I have for everybody. Know what the law is. So I'm saying to you, if you
knowledge is power.
Yes, come with your 5,000, your 6,000, your 8,000 US, right? Just walk with some paperwork to back up your money so that when they ask you, you have something to show. So you don't have to go through the hassle. Because if they are satisfied at the airport, they'll give you back your money and let you go. But if they are not satisfied, they're going to keep your money. Right. So walk with paperwork. That's all I'm telling Jamaica. Don't shoot the messenger. Just receive
deal with the message.
That's it. That's
Counsel,
it.
thank you. Thank you for
You're
the time
welcome.
this morning. We'll be in touch.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Attorney at law, Mailer. And a word to the wise is sufficient. If you don't want to listen, you can stay there. Unmute for me, MP. We are now joined by Member of Parliament for Eastern St. Mary, Christopher Brown. Chris Brown, morning. Chris Brown? Well, we see him unmute, but we're not hearing him. MP?
You hearing me?
Yes, now we're hearing you, sir. Morning, how are you doing?
Greetings, Colin. I'm well. How are you?
I am doing well. And we just want to congratulate you on that presentation in the Parliament, in the sectorial debate. Your first presentation come full with data. And we must say we appreciate it. But some of the data are startling, MP Chris Brown. The Jamaican government is failing to capitalize on one of what I think is our major asset, intellectual property right and stuff like that. Speak to us about where the government is falling down.
Thank you again, Colin, and morning again to your viewers and listeners. I think that what I sought to point out without trying to be partisan, because at some point all of us have an interest in Jamaica doing well and in Jamaica succeeding. And what I sought to point out using the global statistics that are available is that we are not getting the fundamentals right as it relates to our readiness for the modern economy. And I grounded those, as I said, in how Jamaica has been rated globally by the significant rating agencies in terms of our overall readiness. For example, in terms of the knowledge and technology output, which ranks how you are utilizing AI intelligence, how you are um, creating technological and digital products to be competitive in the new modern economy. There are 139 countries that were ranked, and we are 117. In terms of network readiness, again, 127 countries that were ranked, and we are 94. In terms of patents, which gives an indication of the knowledge outputs, the thinking and the creation of data and digital products and intellectual property, as you indicated. We have only created two patents in 2023 in terms of the year that the rankings indicated, and we were 121 in terms of ratings out of 139. So when you peel behind the glossy speeches, the workshops that are being presented, and the extensive marketing and PR apparatus, you are recognizing that instead of progressing and being in the forefront of creating that modern economy that is critical to attain the elusive growth that has not been really coming forth for us. We are not there. And as such, some of the fundamental things I call upon the government and the minister to move now to create and institute both the legislative framework and also to put in place the required funding, because a lot of these things will require funding. There is, for example, an indication that the government gave about 3 years ago that they're going to make their expenditure 1% as it relates to research, 1% of GDP. And when I checked the World Intellectual Property Organization's website to see where we are, they didn't have a score there. They didn't have a value there for Jamaica. And again, the minister came in his speech this year and announced a new figure. So I think that we have to get it right, because a lot is happening, and especially in this field of science, technology, AI, and digital transformation, the globe is not waiting on us. And, we run the risk of having our people left behind. I gave the clear example, which is a real example of
Mm.
one of my constituents who works
Yes.
within the BPO sector, and she comes and lives in Kingston, and stays in Kingston from Sunday to Friday. And she's working long hours, hard hours, sending back. She has two children and has her mother and other siblings who are depending on her. She's a real, breadwinner for the family. But that sector, the BPO sector, as we speak, we have these companies who are now training AI um, technological solutions that are going to be removing that human element very shortly. And I was trying to look at the conversion rate that is happening now, moving from the human voice to the AI voice. And if you, I mean, Jamaicans are
Which
experiencing.
which one of the ministries feeling us, Chris?
Well, the science technology, it's Minister Wheatley, and then Minister Marks deals with digital transformation. And the investment needs to be there. There's a lot of talk. There's a lot of workshops. There are a lot of task force that is being established and things, but we are not seeing it in the raw results and ratings in terms of our readiness for the global economy. And it's very concerning because, as indicated, if we don't move quickly, speed is very essential and fundamental in this area. And if we don't move quickly, we run the risk of losing hundreds of thousands of jobs, and we run the risk of having our economy left behind. I want to point out something very quickly, Colin.
Yeah.
Um, Cybersecurity. The minister in his presentation, Minister Wheatley, pointed out that between 2022 and now, 3 years, we have had 49 million in 2025 alone cyber attacks or attempts at breaching the database of both public and private sector, but principally, I believe we are speaking to public sector entities in terms of breaching the database. That was up from 22 million in 2022. Just this week alone, we heard the Minister of Health came out and it was sufficient enough of a threat or a breach for him to have come public to alert that there may have been some breach in terms of the data at the National Health Fund. Yesterday, and it came out very late yesterday, Jamaica Stock Exchange issued a release that they had a breach in their database. And in 1 week, we have seen two major institutions of government, but yet the Cybersecurity Act that is so essential to protecting the infrastructure and the data of the Jamaican economy in this global technological era is yet to be passed, is yet to be tabled in Parliament. So I think that we are not getting the fundamentals right. We are majoring in the minors, and we need to get it right and get it right quickly.
You mentioned in your presentation that I don't remember which global organization told the government that they had to get moving.
The World Intellectual Property Organization, WIPO.
Right.
The Secretary General was here about 3 weeks ago. He met with Minister Wheatley, the Prime Minister, Minister Auburn Hill.
And he told them, what did he tell them?
No, he told them that the investment is critical to spur readiness in terms of the overall economy as it relates to all of these metrics and the economy's ability to stand the test of time in this age. He indicated to them, quite frankly, it was his first visit here, but he indicated to them that you have to put your money where your mouth is. So yes, you can make the talk. Yes, you can have the glossy press conferences and everything, but to get the results, you have to invest in a real way in science, technology, and digital transformation. We have seen some moves.
As it relates to intellectual property, patenting and all this kind of thing, how much money is Jamaica losing by not really getting these things right?
I can't give a specific figure, but I think that Jamaica is one of the greatest cultural powers in the world.
Yes.
Our music, our language which is now of recent debate in the Parliament and elsewhere. Our rhythms, our general creativity, sport, and everything is such a global phenomenon. And in this day of artificial intelligence, you can have someone sit anywhere and just create a rhythm, a beat, a track, utilizing our own rhythms, our own genre in terms of music, and yet there is no protection for the Jamaican people, society, and our overall economy in terms of earning and protecting that cultural sovereignty as it relates to the data mining that is happening. So it is very, very significant financially. And
would you say it is in the billions, or has it gotten to trillions or millions?
Certainly it would be in the billions. And that is why we have to move quickly. And the WIPO Secretary General raised that point specifically around the cultural sovereignty in the era of global intellectual property and artificial intelligence. We are losing a lot of value, and we stand to lose even greater amounts if we don't move quickly to protect and harness our cultural sovereignty and our cultural global prowess. There was another point, I wanted to, and I spoke about it closer to the end, not necessarily related to my sectoral presentation, Colin, but something that I think is really fundamental in terms of the institution of government. You would recall that in 2020, we had, a general elections then, and it was in the midst of COVID. And at the end of it, we had a voter turnout of about 37%, pretty low. And many argued that, okay, it was a COVID election, so many stayed away and as such, that level of outturn in terms of voters was expected. Come to 2025, I believe the campaign was very robust. There's a lot of interest. The rallies on both sides of the political divide were really, really well supported in terms of numbers, and the campaign was generally spirited. At the
Yes.
end of the day, Colin, the voter turnout, having been projected by the pollsters based on polling and everything, and projected to come out at about 50 something percent, we saw only 39%.
Yeah, just
So
2% up from the 2020 that we
that's right.
thought was an anomaly.
That we thought was an anomaly. And I think that apart from, and a lot of debate and discussions have started around that, persons saying the voters, this may be inflated. I think the last thing I saw was 2.1 million persons on the national voters list. There is the view that a significant element is abroad. There's a view that there needs to be some re-verification in terms of positioning persons who may have migrated from where they once lived to other areas and are unable to vote in the specified area and may not be able to come back on election day to vote. So, for example, you may have your vote originally in East Portland. You are now living in South St. James because you got some work down there in the tourism or some family movement down there. On
Yeah.
election day, you can't get to come back to East Portland. So some have argued that those sorts of issues may be also deflating turnout. And then, of course, the amount of dead on the list, which I think the electoral office, I said, I think they indicated about 15,000 were removed in the last spell. But I think a fundamental part of the issue with turnout, just 39% in an election where there's no COVID, is that there is growing voter apathy, growing disaffection in the political process and also in the institution of government. As a new MP, you get the basic calls. People want the roads to be fixed. People want the light bulbs to be, in terms of the street lights, to be,
Yeah.
they say MP, there's darkness. They want water, which is a big issue every day. In fact, in my constituency, I have sections of the constituency that gets water only once per week, and sometimes on that one regulated schedule, weekly schedule, they don't get it. People want the drains to be clean, and they don't want to, hear whether it's MP drain or parish councillor drain. They just want it to be clean. They want the garbage to be collected. And these things, these basic expectations of government as an institution, they are not being delivered. I mean, last week, something very profound happened to me where, I was driving past a setup with Transport Authority and the police in terms of, the usual activity as
Yeah.
it relates to public passenger and the taxis and the buses and things. And I went down the road, having passed and stopped at one of the, bars, and was there talking with some of my constituents. And then one of the taxi drivers drove up to me and he stopped and he said, MP, I just don't understand. I said, what do you mean? He says, we have to be struggling on these bad roads every day. The roads are the worst they have been. He has seen them in decades. And yet still, these roads are mashing up our vehicle, right? And yet still, Transport authorities, they're giving us tickets, impounding our vehicle and saying it is, our vehicles are unfit for the road. Where does it start? Our roads are mashing up our vehicle and we are being penalized for this. And I stood there and listened to him, and I just basically said to him, well, you have a point, and it is something that we have to look at. Another, 2 weeks ago, another
A
family.
question though, MP. A question.
Yes.
You talk about the voter apathy.
Yes.
And it was just, I think last week or earlier this week that we had a discussion on this platform about
Yes.
people living overseas. Do you think it's time that Jamaicans living abroad gets a chance to vote from where they are?
I think ultimately we have to go into that direction, because the records show that we have as much people living abroad as those living here. But we have to put the systems, and in fact, some of the more developed countries already allow their citizens, when they have national elections, to vote from overseas, in the diaspora, and they go to the embassies or the high commissions wherever, and those different offices to cast their vote. And I think that the diaspora, contributes significantly to the economic buoyancy and the economic wherewithal of the country. And as such, I believe they should have a voice. However, we have to create the system that will allow everybody, including the diaspora, to feel that and have the comfort that their vote is safe, secured, and that in the system of one man, one vote, that is maintained, and just the security against the potential breaches. And we saw the breaches. I just spoke about it earlier in terms of the Cybersecurity Act, where persons and hackers are successfully breaching public entities' databases. So until we get it right and put those critical infrastructure and systems in place, I don't think we are there yet. But I think that all told, I wouldn't have a problem in members of the diaspora, ultimately, and at some point, once the proper systems are in place, having a say in terms of the process, in the democratic process in the country.
With,
What's
our
your view on that?
fragility in the technology,
Yes.
what are your views on electronic voting in Jamaica right now?
I think, again, because of the fragility, as you have outlined, we are not fully ready for that. I think we have some amount of, I think it's an EBIS system where in certain selected constituencies, the verification and authentication of the elector is done electronically. So, for example, I believe in some of and it was done basically when you had those quote unquote defined garrison constituencies or garrison clusters in certain more of our urban constituencies, where it was, an attempt to seek to prevent overvoting and bogus voting, where the ballot, your fingerprints is utilized to authenticate and validate the voter, to say it's the same man, same vote, that Colin Bell, who comes to vote, is the Colin Bell that is standing in front of them. And then once that authentication is done, I believe they then give you the physical ballot. As to going further towards now casting your ballot via a digital and electronic process, again, I think the infrastructure, the technological, digital, legislative framework would need to be put in place, so that we can there's comfort and satisfaction that the security of the system would be paramount, and that there would be greater network security that will then facilitate an ease of people feeling safe and satisfied that it is a safe system and they will get the desired result. But I don't think we are there yet. But I'm all for the continued and even the expansion of the authentication of identity, prior to even the issuing of the ballot to electors.
Tell me something. You mentioned NIDS in your presentation.
Yes.
Where is NIDS now, and are you confident that NIDS will achieve what they plan to achieve from it?
I think NIDS has been in place now for quite a few years, and Minister Marks announced a whole rebranding effort around it. In fact, they are utilizing the post offices and the postal agencies as centers of where you can go and get this needs ID, and there's a push now to have the needs even further, utilizing the Jamaican space. The problem I have is that, again, there's a lot of talk. As I told the parliament, I sat behind when I was in private sector, and working with an entity that needs to work and operate. And the bungling, the lack of resources, the delays that I saw, and they are still happening with the project. And this had nothing to do with whether or not it was legally challenged or whatever. It's just that there was not the proper organization around it, that has caused the significant delays. And even in the Standing Finance Committee, when we were dealing with the budget, I pointed out that there is some amount of over expenditure going over budget as it relates to needs, due strictly to the delays and the bungling and what is happening. So though I am a little hopeful based on the new direction and the speed as announced, I'm not going to be comforted by announcements, in terms of the direction that the government is going, because of the history that is there and because of what I know. The financial institutions have not yet integrated fully into the system. Other financial entities, the banks, so forth, credit bureaus, have not yet fully integrated into the NIT system. And that is a key part of identity in terms of business. When you go to open any account and do any business, those entities would need the needs, and persons would be able to utilize the needs for them to validate their identity. That is not yet ready. So there's a lot of noise, a lot of announcements, a lot of glitz and glamour, but the fundamental objectives of what needs was to accomplish, we are not there yet, and there is concern as it relates to that.
Why this level of large inefficiency in this digital age, Chris Brown?
I think I don't think there is the will there. I think there is just this caught up with PR and just announcement and opening stuff, and when you go behind the opening and look into the shell, there is basically nothing there. I just believe.
Hello, MP Chris Brown.
Sorry.
Yeah. We're hearing you again. Go ahead.
Do you hear me, Colin?
Yes, man. We're hearing you. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, we are hearing you.
Oh. Colin, you hearing me?
Yes, loud and clear, Chris Brown. We're hearing you loud and clear. Sound like you're not hearing us?
Yeah, I'm hearing you now.
Yeah, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think we just need to recognize where we are as a country, look at the fundamentals that we need to focus.
We're missing you again. Chris Brown, you drop out again. We're not hearing you. We listen to the sectorial debate, and based on MP of Eastern St. Mary, Chris Brown. Is it Northeast St. Mary? Yeah. Jamaica is at the back of the class digitally. And when it comes to securing our intellectual property, our patent and all of that, Jamaica is at the back of the class. So basically what we learned from Chris Brown's sectorial debate is that Jamaica is not maximizing its earnings as it relates even to our culture. Chris Brown, you're back with us? He has not left the platform, but we're not hearing him. Again, digital issues. We hear Flo said they're rolling out 5G. You remember one time there was this big argument about 5G? I know nobody no want 5G because 5G are going to do this. And Southeast St. Mary. Thank you, Conrad. and 5G are going to do this and 5G are going to do that. And Flo now makes public announcement that they're rolling out the 5G. Hey, boy. I don't know what happened, but we're not hearing Chris Brown. Guess we have lost him. There are so many things to say, but I want to thank him for joining us this morning. And thanks to the attorney at law for coming on here and explain. You see, when I listen to Fieval Williams doing, you see this government, yeah? Them not straight. Them not straight. And I want to go back to Fieval's statement and I want to listen when she start talk about the 100,000. She not tell we say the police them can take away your money and custom officer. They can hold on your money. So all those idiots out there who are trying to shoot the messenger and not understand the message, what the lady is saying is that the law gives the police and the custom officers, if them hold you with over $100,000, them can seize it and you will now have to employ a lawyer to get it back. Sometimes these things are good to bring to the public, because I assure you a lot of policemen never know, say, them could have do that. I will for policemen know the lie, They never know. But let me go back to Fieval. Listen, Fieval.
First has to do with what has been circulating in social media about $100,000 Jamaican, whether or not you can bring that into Jamaica. And I'm here to say that that information on social media from someone who purports to be a lawyer is incorrect. Persons traveling to Jamaica can bring cash in excess of 100,000 Jamaican dollars. You have to declare if you are bringing in US 10,000 or the equivalent. You have to declare it on your Enter Jamaica electronic form when you fill that out. So then, if we're saying to you, coming into Jamaica, you can declare if you have US 10,000 or higher or equivalent, then we're also saying to you, you could bring in less than US $10,000 without declaring it. So how did this Jamaican 100,000 come into being, into the conversation? It does exist in law, but it is a security threshold. So our security, including customs, can, if they suspect someone to be coming into Jamaica and they believe them to be carrying whatever, they can question that person. They can, investigate. And the 100,000 comes about because the law says, that's the threshold. So if somebody's coming in with less than 100,000 in their pockets, you wouldn't necessarily go after them, right, Assistant Commissioner? So that's where the 100,000 comes in. It's just for law.
You know what wicked about this statement? The lady not tell you so they can't take your money, She not tell you so they can't take your money. Rally, morning.
Yeah, man, morning.
Oh, go on, brother.
Morning. Yeah, we're there, brother.
All is well?
Yep, all is well.
Well, give us an update on what happened this week in the Jamaican economy before we go anywhere further. Rally? Rally, we're hearing you,
Yeah, man.
Give us an update on what happened in the Jamaican economy this week.
As I said, Bank of Jamaica was mopping up liquidity, mopped up 95. Clearly, you know. Colin, I'm hearing you clearly. You're not hearing me.
Yeah, man, go
I'm
ahead.
hearing you clearly.
We're hearing you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm saying to that. Yeah, the Bank of Jamaica was mopping up liquidity. They mopped up 95 billion between last week and this week. The dollar closed at 159 and change this week. Scotiabank says it's delisting, buying back the shares that are held by the public and taking the company private. So those are the big things that happen in Jamaica in terms of the finances this week.
And globally?
Governor of the Bank of Jamaica said that the BOJ delivered some 50 billion in dividends over the last 7 years while he was there. No bank failed under his stewardship. Never spoke about the whole thing about the ATM machine still not working. People can't move their accounts from one bank to another yet, as well as the whole thing that the country is in a steep recession. Internationally, we see the US and Iran, they say they are close to a deal. So we see a pullback in crude oil prices. Bond deals, interest rates are still elevated. The European Central Bank increased interest rates. The Federal Reserve Board meets next week. They are expected to hold, but they are expected to increase interest rates before the year end. The Bank of England is also expected to increase interest rates. So we saw earlier in the week equities markets tumbling. Then we saw them bouncing back yesterday. The general mood in the international economy is that inflation is accelerating, interest rates will have to increase, and economic growth will have to slow down. It's stagflation we're talking about. Higher interest rates, higher inflation, lower GDP growth, and more unemployment right across the globe.
Did you listen to Wayne Henry in the what do you call it again? Hold on. Listen this.
Standing Finance
Director
Committee.
General of the Planning
Standing Finance Committee.
No, it wasn't Standing Finance Committee. Listen this.
But to manage fuel price shocks. Director General of the Planning Institute of Jamaica, PIOJ, Dr. Wayne Henry, is suggesting that flexible hybrid and remote work arrangements could help to manage fuel price shocks. Dr. Henry says this approach could also reduce pressure on imports and strengthen Jamaica's economic resilience by reducing commuting activity and lowering fuel demand. In a presentation to the Economy and Production Committee of Parliament on Wednesday, the PIOJ head said these work arrangements should not be viewed solely as workplace policies, but as practical economic and social policy tools. His comments come against the background of the conflict between the United States and Iran, which is negatively impacting the price of oil on the global market.
If fewer people are required to commute daily, fuel consumption declines naturally. This reduces pressure on households, lowers transportation-related costs, and decreases national demand for imported fuel. This is where flexible, hybrid, and remote work arrangements become relevant. Rather than relying solely on fiscal interventions, these arrangements demand-side strategy that can support resilience while maintaining economic activity. In essence, they represent an opportunity to reduce exposure to external energy shocks through changes in how work is organized.
Acknowledging that each model has strengths and weaknesses, Dr. Henry said the evidence suggests that hybrid work offers the most sustainable balance between fuel savings, productivity, collaboration, and employee well-being.
What have you said about that, Raleigh?
Yeah, that should be general macroeconomic policy. People like John Levy has been saying that for a long time. We have been saying that. We'll be talking to John Levy about that on Sunday. He's coming with that late when we see some
That's what I was just about to ask you, if we're not late.
Yeah, man. He's late, but the fact of the matter is that should be general macroeconomic policy going forward, and it is not a substitute for the government spending more to get the economy moving. So when he's talking about fiscal policy, yeah. So we should have that generally, staggering work, all of them things to reduce the congestion on the road and the amount of fuel that we're burning. That should be general macroeconomic policy. But that does not obviate the need for the government to be spending more in order to get us out of the recession. Yeah.
But isn't the government failing us, Rally, with the war in the Middle East? I mean, to date, the Prime Minister has not really come to the country to really give a direction that the country should be going into. We hear bits and pieces. Darrell Vaz did say almost, so we are going to get locked down like COVID. And no, we're coming with our next little piece. Where is that central leadership in Jamaica right now?
There's no coordinated policy response to what is happening. Why are you getting at us piecemeal and chaka thing? We need a comprehensive macro policy to deal with the international situation, a macro policy shift. So that would also include what Wayne Henry is saying. That would also include more government spending to build out the country's infrastructure. It would also mean more investments and fiscal incentives to invest in renewable energy. It would also mean more investments and fiscal incentives to invest in food security and all of those things. We need a comprehensive policy mix. There was a speaker from Uruguay. He was doing the Maurice Facey lecture, and he said that this is time for Jamaica to have more robust policy and investments in renewable energy. And he spoke of, okay, all right. He told people Uruguay created 50,000 jobs, and Uruguay is now selling power to its neighbors in South America. Yeah.
Rally, since the war, haven't I been saying to you all that the government should pump $50 billion in solar equipment?
Yeah, man, that's obvious because the fuel bill is one of the biggest drain on the country. Not only in terms of it draining the foreign exchange, it also makes us uncompetitive. Yeah, so we can't export because your energy cost is too high in an environment of high international energy cost. Those things are no-brainer. That's why I'm telling you, they don't know what they're doing. So it's not only since the war, they have been mismanaging the economy for a long time.
For the last 10 years.
And the sycophants continue to tell them that they are doing well. And many people in civil society and academia and in the opposition are afraid of them, so they're afraid to call it out.
Mr. Bell, morning. What Mr. Iman's opinion that CIBC is pulling out of the region, and what impact will that have on the economy?
Well, many of the banks, that is what we're saying, when the banks pull out of the region, that has a deleterious impact on the economy because it means that there's less loan flows in the system, and it means that there's less spending, less investments, and all of those. Those things are not good for the country.
I did some work, Rally, on some information that you gave us. You told us the other day from 2021, financial year 2021 to 2025. Are you aware that the government did not spend $238 billion of planned money that they had planned to spend?
Yeah, man.
$238 billion. The government did not spend that. They come to the country and tell us that they were going to spend that on the country's infrastructure.
Yeah, man, them always do that. So as we pointed out, them plan one budget until that they must spend that, then them revise it, and them still not spend the revised amount. That has been going on from Nigel Clark. I used to talk to him almost every week about it, and they continue to use procurement as the excuse. But that's not really the real. Yeah, that's not the real reason. The reason is that this government is only focused on debt management. Yeah, they are not looking at the broader economy. It's an accounting exercise they are doing, and that is why Beryl and Melissa had such a negative impact on the economy, because they're not building out the country's infrastructure. They're not spending on the human capital. That is why you have 3% unemployment while GDP is declining, because the workers are not trained to do any value-added work. Additionally,
go ahead.
The bulk of the raw materials that we use to make things are also imported. So all those things leak out of the economy. So your workers are not properly trained, and the raw materials that you are using come from somewhere else. So you can't get value. So those are the broad economic reforms that we need. They are us concentrating on one variable. And that's madness.
Chris Brown in his sectoral debate, and we just had him on a while ago, basically explained to us that as it relates to this digital revolution that the world is going through, Jamaica is at the back of the class. We're not earning what we should be earning from our intellectual property rights, what we should be earning from patenting and getting what we're supposed to get from our culture and all of them kind of something there.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yep. We're losing out in that area. Yep. So that has to be a part of the new.
I heard the Prime Minister in a speech.
Ukraine,
Not sure. Rally? Rally? Rally, you're breaking up. I heard the Prime Minister in our speech. And the Prime Minister mentioned he mentioned the decline in the last quarter of 2025. You back with us, Rally?
Yeah, man, I'm here.
Yeah, man. Yeah, the Prime Minister.
Can you hear me?
Yes, man, loud and clear. The Prime Minister, I heard, you heard this from the Prime Minister. Oh, no, sorry, not ready for that. The Prime Minister mentioned the decline of 7.1% in the last quarter of 2025. But he stayed clear of anything from 2026. You hear the man? You hear him?
An easy road. Just to sum it up all nice and decent people. So the last few months has not been an easy road. Real GDP fell by 7.1% in the December quarter, the sharpest contraction in years. And this has been driven, obviously, by Hurricane Melissa. And costs are going up, again, driven by increased energy costs. And energy costs have gone up by some 60% since the Middle East conflict began. Grain prices are up, shipping costs are elevated. And these are conditions that businesses would have had to navigate from last year to now.
You think he's now recognizing a problem, Ralston?
No, because he sounds like an amateur. He sounds like him damn sure away myself. So here's a professional view. Real GDP was $2.4 trillion before it dropped by 7%. That's $160 billion. For the first quarter, real GDP dropped by almost 6%. Yeah, that's another $120 billion. Yeah, so real GDP in 6 months.
Rally.
Is done by instituting XYZ nonsense that they are doing, taking money from the Financial Services Commission.
No, sir. No.
You know, hear me?
It's a dropout.
Hello?
We're hearing you now,
Colin?
but yeah, we're hearing you now, but there are times when it's dropping out.
Colin?
Yes, Rally.
I am hearing you. Know.
Yeah, man, but there are times when you are dropping. It drops sometimes. Hello?
Yeah, well, the system. So that I make it. Yeah, real GDP in 6 months. So he should be saying that this is why the government is going to be doing XYZ PQR to stimulate the economy, rather than the nonsense that they're doing, taking money from FSC and all of those places, forcing FSC to increase the fees to its clients, which are insurance companies, pension funds, and securities dealers. And those things will be passed on to the general public, leading to more inflation, and more people are going to not insure their places, insure their cars. So that makes us more vulnerable in every way. Yeah.
All right. We have a call. Let's take the call. Mr. Edwards, morning.
Morning, Mr. Bell, and to your
Colin.
follower. Morning, Raleigh. Morning, my shower brother, Raleigh. My question is to you this morning. You heard me loud and clear, Raleigh?
Loud
Hello?
and clear.
Go ahead, Rally, hearing you loud and clear. Go ahead with your question.
Yeah, man, loud and clear.
Nice, nice. Raleigh, I noticed a big announcement yesterday that Scotia Group is planning to go private. And I know a lot of pension fund money is tied up in Scotia Group. And I see they touting some figures of around 800 million Canadian dollars in value. If Scotia Group really go private, Rally, does that mean those pension funds would have to find a new home, Rally? Not hearing Rally.
Hold on, him not start talking.
Mm-hmm.
You heard the question, Rally? Ralston, you heard the question? We're not hearing him, nephew. I don't know if he heard the question, but we're not hearing him at all.
We're not here because I'm very interested to find out. If
I never heard it fully. I heard.
Hold on, nephew. He's asking about the pension funds that Scotia holds. There's some my little pension there too, you know. Rally? Ah, Lord. Rally, I don't know. Ooh. All right, so him come back on a different line. Let's take him. Yeah, let's add him back. Yeah, Rally, you hearing us now? Ralston, you hearing us now?
Colin.
Yeah, man.
Let me ask you the question about Mr. Bell.
Go ahead, yeah. Repeat the question.
Rally, you hear me, Rally? Rally?
Yeah, I'm hearing you loud and clear. Yeah.
Thank you. Scotia Group announced yesterday that they planning to go private. And we know a lot of pension fund money is invested in Scotia. And we're hearing about some 800 million Canadian dollars in value. If they go private, Rally, does that mean that the pension fund money would have to find a new home to invest?
That's not good for.
Go
ahead, Rally. Go ahead. No, Rally. No.
For the general economy. So what Scotia want to do is want all of the.
Rally, that it's not working out at all. Not working out. Rally, try another instrument and join the button, please. Yeah, Rally.
While he's doing that.
Yeah, we can try another instrument.
Mr. Bell?
Yeah, yes, nephew.
While he's doing that, it is interesting because if that is so, it means that those companies which pay excellent dividends may be interested now to look at them because price appreciation may be nearby. If you understand the point, I mean,
yeah,
that is what I want.
And I want to hear Raleigh's view on that question, Nevia. I like the question, and as I said, my little rainy day over there to someone who I really want to hear Raleigh on that. So make we wait till Raleigh join us back. All right?
Yeah, man. We're interested, Colin.
Yes. All right. Cool. We're taking your calls 1-876-804-7072. This is the Colin Bell Show on a Saturday morning. This is where we talk governance. What about the World Cup? World Cup football is on. I want to know your team. And hold on, caller. Me I say to every Jamaican, not Jamaican, not black people of support Argentina. And I'm saying that because I used to be a firm supporter of Argentina, but from them vote against we at the UN, make Argentina go one side. Every time Argentina play, me want to see them lose. Go ahead, caller.
Well, Colin, I'm sorry for disappointing you. Argentina are my team.
Me nah, hold on. As me say, no, it was my team. But when Ghana took a matter to the United Nations to say slavery was a crime against humanity, Argentina vote against that, brother. So, me not have no part with Argentina again. And we must know our history, know where we stand as a people, and we must support who support we, and boycott who boycott we. Somebody has said them a boycott the World Cup. All that me I think about it, but me know nothing with Argentina. Every match me want them lose. Go ahead, caller.
Oh, all right. When me answer to you different, I never that me call you about. The originally call you about the same thing when me hear somebody just talk to you about, because me have something as Scotia that too. And me hear of the investment where them go private, and also me hear them announce some stock too.
Yeah.
So me don't want to know, me don't want to hear from Ralston how him think the stock go. If it is a good stock to buy, so could I invest maybe
which one
on the line of the stock.
Which one I stock that?
The stock where them announced the Scotiabank yesterday.
No,
it has started almost
no, I think,
50 something.
Hold on, I think Scotia plan to go private.
Yes,
so
but them need a pool of money to go in it. So them also go sell some stock. They mention that.
They must sell shares. I never hear that part because if they're going, if they're going private, shares. They wouldn't be selling shares.
Yeah, well, them announced that too.
Well, when Raleigh reach us back, we'll find out. Because
I know.
Hold on, he's back. Hold on.
Raleigh tell me about.
Hold on, Raleigh's back.
Berita.
Raleigh, are you hearing us?
Yeah, man, I'm hearing you. Can you hear me?
All right. So, loud and
yes,
clear.
I'm hearing you. You hearing me?
Yes, I.
All right. What Scotia is doing? Scotia is buying back the.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Scotia is buying back the shares that are held. Scotia is buying back the shares that are held by the public, including Scandi. Those are the stocks that steady blue chip companies, and they pay dividends. So the pension funds now will be affected because BNS now buying back everything, and all of those dividends will go abroad. It will also affect the exchange rate because more dividends will be now transferred abroad. Nothing will be left in Jamaica.
Hold on there, Raleigh. Explain that, the pension thing, because I have personal interest. I don't understand that part. Explain the whole pension part. No, man. No. You're breaking up, Raleigh, man. Which one of the instrument you use? The new one?
Oh, no.
I could try the new instrument, Raleigh, because this a break up on this thing. A lot of people want to hear about this pension thing out Scotiabank, you know. Raleigh? Hold on for my caller.
Yeah, man, cause
no,
this thing we need to hear.
I'm not gonna lie to you, this Scotiabank thing, I want to hear about it. Because as me telling you this, I over them my little rainy day there. Me I tell you that. Because me look for the place where we have confidence and some security. So me I look for the rainy day over there. All right, hold on for my caller. Let me Yeah, I know everybody have an idea, but hold on the phone.
rates,
Hold on.
which would flow inflation coming from fiscal or expectations. So in that context, and given that we are in a recession, given that we're struggling to recover from Melissa, why should Jamaicans bear the burden of higher domestic interest rates, which would flow from your, what should I say, your watching brief of what is going to happen with inflation in the next 2 quarters? That's first question.
Okay, thank you for that question. Yes, so most of the inflation that we are experiencing now is imported. And normally we would use the tools of interest rates, monetary policy to combat inflation generally. But because it is imported, the exchange rate is very important. And so we have put a lot of focus on that. So you would say that we are trying to fight inflation with 2 main tools. One is the exchange rate, keeping that fairly stable, preventing it from being volatile, because we all know that if that exchange rate gets out of hand, it would drive inflation considerably. But secondly, we have to watch out for second round effects of inflation. So imported crude price goes up, transportation prices go up too. The person taking the transport decides to up their prices, and the person who they are selling to decide to up their prices also. Those are the second and third round effects that we have to guard against. And so holding the policy rate is our kind of defensive measure against those second round effects. But primarily we are fighting this imported inflation with the exchange rate being as stable as we possibly can make it.
You made a comment.
Governor Biles,
I think
Governor Biles.
you had
Easy, Peter. Come down. Yeah, caller, continue. Let's go back to the caller.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, man. So I mean, me also ask Ralston about Berita
Mm-hmm.
if him think Berita is a good stock we can buy, or how you can get in an investment like that to invest some money in Jamaica.
Okay. All right. Well, he's trying out. We're trying something different. So hopefully he's going to join us back in a little while.
All right. So me short back. I want to hear from him directly.
All right. Yeah, you can.
Cool.
Yeah, man. 99. You see, a lot of people just talk. Colin is the one who need to have an equipment which help Ralston to deliver and inform. All right. Whatever. We're going to work on it, and we have been working on it. We have made some changes, but come like it still now works. So maybe I need to send a technician to do some things and get it. But whatever it takes, we are going to get that connection with Ralston sorted out. Yeah? Whatever it takes, we're going to get it sorted out so that the people can get the information, because the devil is a liar. And we know, say, them don't want them to get the information. We had Chris Brown this morning, and Chris Brown was clear till him drop off. Don't know why.
Chris Brown.
Turn off the instrument in the background for me, caller, please. Go ahead. Morning and welcome to the Colin Bell
Good
Show.
afternoon. Good afternoon. Yeah, good afternoon, Colin.
Yeah, man.
All right. So I remember Melissa, and I'm going to use conspiracy theory on Melissa. I believe that it's man-made, and my reason for saying this. Remember, in 2016, that's the first time the Prime Minister speaking about a smart city. And in 2022,
No, give
that's
Andrew
when...
Wellness, no, give Andrew Wellness too much power, man. Andrew Wellness, even if the hurricane was man-made, Andrew make it.
Yes, but what I'm trying to say, in 2022, that's when he said it's going to be down in Black River.
Yeah, that's
Right?
coincident, brother. Coincident.
And for yeah, we can say it coincident until it proven that it's coincident. This is my conspiracy theory. And what I am saying is that for the people down in Black River, they should have seen this coming. They should have seen this coming from the speech of the Prime Minister. And that is what I'm saying. Now they are crying because remember that the Prime Minister had knocked some house down somewhere in Spanish Town.
Over in St.
Right?
Catherine, not
And
Spanish Town.
there was some beautiful...
Over a place called Clifton in St. Catherine. I don't think that's Spanish Town.
Yes, in St. Catherine, I should say. And there were some very big house. And even if the people, they didn't have the right receipt, because they had some receipt, and if they didn't have the right receipt, they could have sorted out something for those people instead of knocking those houses down. I've seen those houses. And those are this is the government that they've put back in. And what I think Jamaica people like to do is put themselves in some situation that they have to complain about. Thank you very much, Colin, for listening.
Blessings, my brother. I'm going to tell you something. I have heard this argument a number of times, and I not tell nobody said the hurricane was not man-made or man intervene in it, or I'm not going to tell nobody no, I'm not going to say yes. However, if man intervene in it, Andrew Wellness not have nothing to do with it. Andrew not have that kind of power. Can't tell you that. Him not have that the kind of power there. You understand? Hello, good morning. Welcome to the Colin Bell Show.
Morning, Colin.
Morning, sir.
Yeah, I have a quick question for you. Are you hearing me?
I am listening, you.
Yeah, you're a businessman, Colin. Okay. And if I give you a contract to build a road in my property, and I pay you the money, okay, and you fail to deliver, do I have the right? And I have all the receipt that I pay you. Can I sue you for my money?
If you do what?
If I give you a contract to build a road on my property.
Yes.
And I have all the receipt and you fail to deliver. Can I sue you for my money?
Should be able to. Why not?
Sorry?
You should be able to.
All right. Next question now. When I pay my taxes, my land taxes to the government to fix the road and to move the garbage, and the government failed to do it, when can we have a class action lawsuit against the government for the money?
But I think the people can, you know. I think the people can, but it's just that Jamaican people are nonchalant. They're not business with nothing. Anything goes. You see the other day when them said they're going to move the cap on gas, I go out, you know, and make the call. Yeah? And what the government do? The government just outweigh me. Just wait a little bit. You see? At $12.50 them put on diesel this week. $12.50. One go on a liter of diesel. One time, because the people did not speak.
Yeah,
and therefore, when something happen, you don't speak. People do it again. It's like a child. Them go so and try draw something off for the dresser. And you know, say nothing, and them go a little further and go a little further.
Yeah. I mentioned this before, you see? And somebody in the chat room said, oh, they pay me taxes, and then you have to go hire a lawyer. Listen to me, when you hire a lawyer, you sue the government, and you sue the government for your lawyer fee.
Yeah, man, you sue them for
costs. You sue the government and sue.
Yeah, man, the lawyer asks for costs. So if you win the case, the judge award costs. Yeah, man. But and Jamaican people Jamaican people not paying attention to the law until it bite them. And the same way we now pay attention to governance until it bite them.
Yeah. And one more thing for about Colin. The people who in Jamaica who go around and patch the road in the community, they should save all the bills, the receipt and bills, and get a class lawsuit against
Brother,
the government.
I not agree with that, no, you know. You know something I agree with that?
Huh?
I'm not in agreement with the people and we are going to patch the road. I am not in agreement with it because there's two things to it. One, cement damage asphalt. So anytime you put that cement in the asphalt, you have damaged the road, worse damage you have done to the road. And two, I pay my taxes, I vote, and there's a government in place. So therefore, no one man shouldn't go out there upon him own a patch road. And most of the time when you see them out there patch road, they want to collect money from me.
Yeah.
I agree with it.
The point I'm driving at, the people need to come together and sue the government. Sue them.
I agree.
Okay, Colin. Take care, Colin.
Blessings, man. 1-876-804-7072. This is the Colin Bell Show. Ralston Iman is back with us. Let's hope this connection is solid. Ralston, you're back with us.
Yeah, man, as I was saying before, as the greatest pension fund manager the NIF has ever seen, I'm saying to you, pension funds invest a lot of money in stocks like BNS, NCB, Carreras, those companies, Grace Kennedy, that blue chip companies that always make a profit and pay dividend. So now that Scotia is saying that they are going to delist and buy back the shares from the local people, which is about 28%, 22%. It means that all of the dividends will go to Scotia Group. So the pension funds will have to find other areas to invest in. Yeah. And all those dividends are transferred abroad. So when they transfer dividend, it have pressure on the exchange rate. So it's a bad decision for Jamaica.
So what about people who have their pension at Scotia? How this will affect them?
Well, that's not going to affect them in the sense that the Scotia maybe not investing in itself. Yeah, so it means that those investments will be in other entities because they're only investing themselves. So it means that the pension funds that hold Scotia shares, they are the ones that are going to be affected.
Oh, so somebody was asking about that Scotia was selling some shares. I guess him get it wrong. Scotia buying back the shares.
Scotia buying back the shares at $61, 13% premium on what it last traded.
Right. So it will no longer sell shares on the open market. You can't buy no more shares in Scotia.
It won't be on the stock exchange again. Them say they expect to complete that by the end of this year. So it won't be trading on the stock exchange again. So you can't buy a stock in a Scotia again.
So it's just a private company. Why Raleigh? Any reason for that? Why that happened?
Simple. Them want all of the money for themselves.
Hello. Whoa.
Simple. Yep.
Whoa.
So 100% of the dividends now will now be transferred out of Jamaica rather than some staying in Jamaica.
So simple, it's more money now come out of the country than what used to come out before.
Simple.
We have OB on the line. OB, morning.
Hi, Colin. Morning. Raleigh. Morning, Raleigh. Morning, Mr. Raleigh. We tend to have what is called a sort of copycat mentality. With Scotia going this route, you think that we could see other financial institutions go the same route? Raleigh?
Well, there's a...
Yeah, man, we're here, Raleigh. Go ahead. Hold on, Obi. Go ahead, Raleigh.
And probability, yes, that could happen. That wouldn't be good for the stock market and the economy.
Wow. Yeah, Obi.
Wow, that's troubling. That's troubling. Colin, the situation don't party. All right. I heard one of your callers just mention the whole Clifton matter. I did a exclusive, a comprehensive interview with two persons from down there. A young man goes by the name Captain and Miss Myrna. And Thursday, and boy, Colin, that interview is quite revealing. It's up on the channel there. Persons can go and listen back to it. Where they're saying that similarly to us, hearing the Prime Minister on media saying that he will be taking, moving the people from the community. It's the very same way they hear it. And they're also saying that, listen, they have not heard from their MP, their council, nobody met with them. And they're adamant. They took to the street, I think it was on Wednesday, to do a protest, but they were basically, they had to basically retreat because of the rain. They said that they would be going back out, I think Monday coming and so on. I must also say to you that I have tried personally to reach out to their member of parliament, Mr. Floyd Green. And he sent me a message to say to me that they must come talk to him and he's live. I asked him if he's not going to meet with his people. He said they must come talk to him and him live. I can't believe that the minister said that to me.
They must come talk to him and him live.
On him live.
Then they never go upon it for true. They must go upon it.
Yeah, but Colin, but why you go on it? But Colin, can you imagine? It is disrespectful.
Of course it is.
You went into the community, house to house, go vote, and the people have a problem and say, listen, you know, come talk to them. And yes, they must come talk to you and you're live.
Then nothing just
no, man.
I know it's disrespectful, but Raleigh, what you think? Raleigh?
Yeah, man.
What do you think about that?
Hear me?
Yeah.
About what? What Obi said?
The people have no priority. He called the minister to have a discussion about it. And the minister said they must come talk to him on him live. I really look like him now here with Obi.
Actually, I said the minister, I want to be clear. I sent the minister communicate by text. Right? And he responded to me. As a matter of fact, I actually sent him a follow-up response. I said, no, minister, you were there and so on, and he did not respond to that one. But I find, you know, Colin, let me tell you something. I don't know. Maybe what happened to the Jamaican people, I'm going to take the route where some people. Maybe if it happened to where man. Because
there's something that to you know, Obi. No, there's something that to you know, they feel it. Because all right, Obi, watch this. When Darrell Voss came out and said them are going to remove the cap, and we go out and we start talking about it, nobody else done said nothing.
Nobody else said nothing.
Right. So the man just wait and say, at the time they met a little thing they run off and just hold a $12.50 and down the belly. Hold it, man. Hold it, Rasta. Hold
so
it.
we could very well
right, are you saying it?
To take the same road, down the road.
Hold on there. Go ahead, Raleigh.
Are you saying a widespread protest? Yeah.
Nobody no business.
Heard anything? That's the point I'm making. That's why all of these things are happening. Nobody
care, brother.
The business will not.
This is a joke, brethren. And you know what, Colin?
Things that I said this morning.
You know what?
Hold on there. Where's the Raleigh?
The things that I sent you this morning is the opposition people I sent it to, you know.
Oh? Hey, boy.
Yeah.
But you heard, hold on, you heard Peter Bunting in the Standing Finance Committee, Raleigh?
The top opposition people, nobody no business with nothing.
I'm asking if you heard Peter Bunting in the Standing Finance Committee. Raleigh?
Yeah.
You heard Peter Bunting in the Standing Finance Committee. He mentioned the recession. You heard him, Obi?
Okay. We need more people for...
Yeah, man.
But
you know...
But the governor did not respond to
we need more people for calling.
Yes. I will be talking to Julian Robinson on
No,
Monday
because I'm
evening at
afraid for you.
about
I'm
5:30.
afraid for you.
Boy, you know, let me tell you something, brother. This is a joke. You know what? You have
Yeah.
some people
I'm
who
afraid to
think
use the R word. Everybody's afraid to use the R word, despite the fact that
Them afraid of the government. Government badness, them no want government badness reach them. Nobody now say the country is in a recession. Hear what Peter
right.
Bunting say. Hear this from Peter.
Yeah, man.
Expectations. So in that context, and given that we are in a recession, given that we're struggling to recover from Melissa.
Well, that's what he said, but the governor of the Bank of Jamaica never touched that, none at all.
Nah, touch him run for it.
So
Him run
is
from
it
it
that?
like
Is it
Because
that?
that would
Hold
be
on.
politics.
Go ahead,
While it is technically correct, it is politically incorrect for the governor to say that because him no want make it look like say
No
him
man,
a go against what the government has said.
Hold on. The government never said nothing. What I'm saying is that the governor did not respond to
While
that
as a
part of the
technician,
question.
that is point I'm making to you. While as a technician in country, because that would make
Lord of mercy. I can't manage it, Raleigh. We have to work out something else with Raleigh. We have to work out something else. Monday I'll do something else. Because
I don't know, Colin. As you know, as a broadcaster, this is and Raleigh, know it is the biggest nightmare when you're conducting an interview and you're talking,
man.
and it's really
man.
It's like it literally discombobulates.
But unlike the money, the bank. Yeah, man.
Go ahead, Raleigh. We heard nothing you said a while ago. Raleigh? We have to fix this. So, Raleigh, make a talk. I'll call you in a few minutes. But we have to fix this. We can't continue like this. I have an idea. Yeah, Obi, we're wrapping up.
Man.
So go ahead.
Yeah, man. Quickly, I'm saying that you know what is also sad about this whole thing, Colin. You have people who you believe that's supposed to understand know better, you know, hard-hitting program like yours and mine and so on. You have people believe that this is what we need for doing is we put a little trivia in it and all those sort of nonsense, you know.
Trivia in a what? I'm gonna play
in a program and so on, because what happened, they come and talk nonsense about politics, and I keep on saying to people that we are not preaching or practicing or discussing. It's not partisan politics, it is governance.
It's governance we're discussing. Raleigh, hold on, because see if we can hear Raleigh. Raleigh, what you were saying about the question from Peter Bunting.
I'm saying to you that the governor cannot concede that because he wants to be politically rather than technically correct. And he had to contribute to the recession. So that's why I'm not answer the question. Simple. Unlike what happened in places like the US, where the people at the Federal Reserve Board and in Europe and in Canada, they are not afraid to say that we are in a recession. Yeah. So although the central bank is supposed to be independent, the governor is carrying the government line. And he's responsible for the recession too, because he's draining the money from the system in his liquidity, mopping up operations. Yeah.
All right, Obi, finally.
In rapping, Colin, Miss Myrna said, you have house down a party that value up to $50 million. The Prime Minister want to move them out and put them in containers. She said not even our bedroom set can hold in our container house. Right?
All right,
and she also said that, listen, she said if the place is good enough for tourists to come live there, why is it that they as native that live there for 50, 60, 70, 80 years have to move, and they decide that, listen, they will be laying on their bodies out in the street to defend this one? Let's watch it, Colin.
Blessings, my brother.
All the best.
One love.
Respect.
Yeah, man. Ralston, finally, make a wrap up. What do you want to leave with the people?
Again, we're saying that the global economy is being affected by the war. And as a result of that, inflation is accelerating. And all of the big central banks in the world are either going to increase interest rate. It started with the European Central Bank. The Bank of Japan is going to increase interest rates. The European economy is the second largest economy in the world, $23 trillion. The Japanese economy is the fifth or sixth largest economy in the world. The USA is cooling down, the largest economy in the world. Next week when the Fed meets, they are going to hold the rate, but after the next meeting, they are going to increase the rate because inflation is accelerating. So the global economy is declining. What we're seeing in Jamaica is that Jamaica is in a steep recession. Governor is in denial, Prime Minister is in denial, Finance Minister is in denial, University of the West Indies are afraid to call it, private sector afraid to call it, and that denial is going to make us end up in a hell-shaped recession. Simply translated, we are going to see another decline in GDP by about $70 billion during the second quarter of this year, which makes it almost $350 billion decline in 9 months. More people are going to get laid off because more firms are going to find themselves in problem. We're saying to the people of Jamaica, you have to stand up and you have to call it, and the government needs to change what it is doing. The government needs to spend the money that it has, spending on the country's infrastructure, spending on energy, spending on food security to get the economy to move back in the right direction. If you just sit down and in denial and say no business with nothing and a better than that, then you're going to have a problem.
It is going to be a problem, Ralston Iman. But finally,
upon the opposition leader and the opposition spokesman, finance.
What is the $12.50 increase on diesel going to do to the economy? All right, it look like
what is
the $12.50 increase on diesel?
What was that
going to do? What is the $12.50 on diesel going to do to the economy?
Calling common sense, man, that will drive up transportation costs and accelerate inflation, and it means that you have to keep things tight. Yeah.
All right, Raleigh.
So the cost of living is going to go up as
Make we talk again Monday evening, Raleigh. Make we talk again Monday evening. People like up the live for me, like up the live.
Firms are going to cut.
Raleigh, it in and out. It in and out. Make we talk again. All right, let me say thanks to attorney at law, Mailer. Let me say thanks to Christopher Brown. Thanks to Ralston Iman. Thanks to you for joining us. Thanks to all the Portland Spice ambassador. Give the video a thumbs up for me. We're going to be coming to you tomorrow morning with Talk Jamaica, where we'll take all the calls. We realize we haven't taken a lot of calls this morning, but tomorrow morning is Talk Jamaica. Is your time. So get ready and join us right here on Portland Spice TV. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please subscribe, like, and share. Remember to share the channel with somebody who you know when not have the channel yet, when I watch we yet, and make them know that this is where it's at. This is the place where we discuss governance. This is the place where you get the best information on Jamaica's economy. This has been the Colin Bell Show for yet another Saturday morning. May the good Lord continue to bless and keep you. Make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift up his light and give you his peace. Until we meet again, peace be with you.
Tell them to try pre-wee, big up Portland Spice TV. Tell them to try pre-wee, big up Portland Spice TV. Remember to subscribe. See, Portland Spice TV, Louis Culture say it once and we say it again. Portland Spice TV. We are going to hold them and pop it off. Bogus batch where we rip off. Subscribe, share. Portland Spice TV is here.